One thing that is always surprising to me is when I see a company fail at absolutely everything that they do. Especially if they're a company that somehow make billions of dollars each year. A good example is something like Blizzard. I think we can all agree that Blizzard probably has to have one of the most biggest fall off in history. I remember a time when Blizzard games used to actually be good. I think the last good product they ended up releasing was Overwatch. When Overwatch 1 first came out, a lot of people tend to forget how absolutely massive that game was. Absolutely everyone was talking about it. We were all saying how absolutely amazing it is, how good this game is, and that Blizzard is back. You know, they had a little rough spot where they were making absolutely terrible decisions, but now we're back in the golden age and everyone is going to be happy. But obviously, I think we all know what happened to Overwatch. It is extremely sad to see. But even though a lot of people can come and agree that Blizzard is an absolutely horrible company, there are still thousands of people out there who make it their full-time job to defend them 24/7, which is something that just makes absolutely no sense to me. And I think easily one of the most saddest communities out there have to be the Diablo community. I mean, we all know that Diablo 4 isn't good. When the game is like a couple of months old, now people are starting to realize how terrible the game is. But I remember when it first came out, a lot of people were basically being delusional and saying that this game was extremely good and it was amazing. And it literally took the launch of Season 1 for everyone to realize that, ooh, this game may actually not really be that good. But we're not here to talk about Diablo or Blizzard. I'm here to talk about a company that's even more sad and even more delusional and somehow even more embarrassing. And that has to be Meta, or basically what everyone knows them as, is Facebook. I have absolutely no idea why they tried to do that rebranding first. Like, instead of them being known as Facebook, we're going to go and call ourselves Meta. But it was apparently an idea so good that even Twitter has decided to do it. I mean, sorry, X. But I think, as we all know, Meta is the creator of the metaverse, easily one of the most embarrassing products that ever existed. It was a ginormous, colossal failure, and absolutely no one took it seriously at all. Basically, when someone went and talked about the metaverse, if they weren't paid or like sponsored by them to say something positive, they were saying something negative about it. Whether it's them making fun of it and talk about how terrible the idea is, or if it's just them saying how absolutely terrible and soulless it is. Like, I remember there were actually some people who decided to actually go inside of the metaverse and walk around it, and basically they'll just describe it as a worse version of VR chat. And if you don't know how amazing VR chat is, especially nowadays, you are really missing out, because VR chat is absolutely insane of all the stuff you can go and do in it. Now, I am someone who have played VR chat and walked around in it, and it's absolutely amazing. You know, you could go and talk to someone who's definitely dressed up as an anime girl, because I swear that is the only outfit that is allowed in VR chat. So you could go to talk to them and have a full conversation as you talk about something meaningful, like, I don't know, the meaning of life, or just furries. I'm getting off topic. Basically, the metaverse release, no one cared about it at all. It fell off, and they lost billions of dollars. I think we all seen how much their stock has plummeted and how much money they were losing trying to support the metaverse. But for some weird reason, they kept on going. Even though they were losing billions of dollars. Even though the employees who worked in the company didn't even want to use the metaverse. I don't know if they were just stupid or if they were just so delusional that they just truly believe that eventually people will care about this absolutely terrible product. They kept on going and they kept on fighting. Basically became an anime protagonist and never gave up no matter what. Even though everyone else around them wanted them to give up and was basically begging on their knees to go and quit. Which now they finally have done, because I don't see them talk about the metaverse at all. I know that they like to just pretend that it's not real and that it just never existed. And they go up to them and go like, hey, you remember about the metaverse? And they'll be like, Meta, what? I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I think you're making something up, trying to trick me. And then they bash your head with A1 barbecue sauce so they can get you to shut up. They have decided to do something else, and that is release a competition app against Twitter Threads. Now, when this first came out, a lot of people were basically talking about it and saying how this could be good, which is something that I do agree. Competition is good because the only person who wins in competition is the consumer. Every time when someone goes and release a competitor to something, that's really good. But see, the problem is, if you want to be competition, you actually have to be a good product. This is something that I see a lot with multiple things, where they see that, oh, only one of these exists. A good example is Twitter. The only way way for you to go and get a Twitter experience, the only way for you to go and get an X experience is for you to go on the app. There's basically no other app that exists that is like that. But every time when competition is made, they don't try to do anything unique, or they don't even try to make an extremely good experience. Basically what they do, they just copy what Twitter is doing, but just make it worse. So you're basically just making a worse version of Twitter. So most of these competition apps just die and fall off, and absolutely no one cares about them and talk about them a couple weeks later. And Threads has unfortunately shared that same fate, because I'm pretty sure you all seen the headlines and you all seen the articles, and I have researched it and it is true. Threads have had a 85% fall off, which is absolutely massive. Now, you falling off is something that's not surprising at all, because everything, and I mean literally everything, is going to have a fall off. Let me use a good example like Elden Ring. Obviously, when the game first came out, everyone was talking about it, everyone was playing it, millions of players was playing the game. Less and less people were playing the game, and less YouTubers were talking about it, and less people were streaming it on Twitch, and less people were talking about it on Twitter. The game obviously falls off. But most of the time when stuff falls off, it has like a consistent player base. A good example is any live service game that is actually successful. Obviously, when it first released or a brand new expansion drop, you're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people playing it. But then when it's not trendy anymore and a lot of people fall off, they wouldn't have a fall off this big. 85% is something so massive that I have actually never expected this to happen, because I truly thought that this was actually going to succeed. Facebook is absolutely horrible. We all know how terrible the social media side is, but for some reason, people still decide to go and use it. So I really thought Threads were going to become that yeah, even though it's terrible and it's just a worse version of Twitter, people were still going to latch onto it and use it for some weird reason. But it seems like it wasn't even able to go and get that luxury, because just no one wants to go and use it at all, which 100% makes sense. I have been on Threads. It is terrible. It is literally a worse version of Twitter, and there's absolutely nothing that you can see at all. Basically, all it is filled to the brim with corporate companies. Like, they'll post super relatable memes, like one of those gimmick accounts that Twitter is absolutely filled with at this point. I'm pretty sure everyone's timeline is just filled to the brim with just terrible gimmick accounts trying to be funny and posting relatable memes. That's basically all Threads are, but instead of just annoying people doing it on Twitter, it's just corporate companies trying to be relatable, and it's something extremely annoying. So it 100% makes sense that something like this happens, and no one is really surprised, but it is still kind of sad to see. But I am also happy. I really just don't want Facebook to own another massive social media site. They already have too much. They have Facebook, they have Instagram. You don't need any more. But I do hope another competition comes and they can actually go and compete against Twitter, because it would be really nice if Twitter actually has competition, because that will actually make them want to make good decisions, you know? But anyway, this is something that I want to talk about. My name is Lua. You have a good day or night. See ya.